Hello, Sports Hub fans. Welcome back. This is the second helping of our, I guess you call it Bengals special. Again, we did it on a Friday because we did not want to jinx the Bengals in any way. So welcome, I guess, Peter, again, who's that side of me this time. Peter, thank you for coming back on. We've just got to review slightly. We've just got to talk about how amazed were you at the end of the game, and then how were you feeling kind of Monday, Tuesday? Because I was pretty tired.
Look, I know that the phrase house money has been bandied around, and I really felt it when we played against the Titans. We'd beaten the curse of a playoff victory. Then we rolled into the Titans and we beat them, so that was another curse broken of never having won, franchise never won away playoff game. And then along came the Chiefs. Now, I have to be honest with you, I know we beat them in week 17, but I thought this was a completely different kettle of fish. And of course, the first half was not good. What we did in the second half, though, which was a carbon copy in terms of success that we had against them at our place, where we restricted Mahomes to 3 offensive points in the whole of the second half, which was unheard of, just blew my mind. And I genuinely think I was in a state of shock for so long. And it took a few days for it to sink in that we're in the Super Bowl. And I'm sure if I was a player, whilst I might enjoy the extra rest, I think I would have liked to have just rolled straight into the Super Bowl a week later. Yeah. But for us fans, this fortnight, it's been fantastic because we've had a fortnight to enjoy the feeling we've not had for 33 years. And for many young fans, of course, they've never experienced this before. So it's been fantastic. And there's been a lot of interest in the Bengals. As a Bengals UK fan group, there's been a lot of interest. We've all been doing podcasts or live radio stints, and it's just a wonderful time to be a Bengals fan.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's a strange. Obviously, it's a great year to make it. The LA being the second biggest marketplace, SoFi Stadium being one of the best stadiums kind of worldwide in any sport. It's a strange time. And then the funny thing then it transpires is the AFC's turn to be the home team. So actually you're the home team in the stadium that Rams are the home team of. So it's got weird home to home situation.
But we're in the away changing room.
I thought they might do.
Yeah, we're in the Chargers changing room, not the Rams changing room.
The Rams changing room.
Go figure that out.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, they would argue that it's home and home. So, at least it'll be a decent changing room because sometimes you have a really great home dressing room and then the away dressing room is terrible. Look, leading in, as you say, you kind of 2 weeks. We kind of missed last week because that Pro Bowl is just a terrible, terrible game. The Bengals have just
the whole thing's a joke because it's just a popularity contest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Give it back to the players and the coaches picking the best players, and give them the credit of being Pro Bowlers, not because a certain fan base has more fans in America and therefore they vote their players in, whether they've been good or not. Yeah, sorry, I'll get off my soapbox.
Well, listen, we can go on a soapbox. I think the players genuinely like it because of the money, but they really put as little effort in as humanly possible. So I think going to the Super Bowl and making it is even better.
Yeah. So get rid of the Pro Bowl game. Just have the Pro Bowl drills, for want of a better phrase, game, not the actual game itself. Skills, that's it. The skills competition. They're fun. Have the whole thing as a nice big party, nice big network. Don't bother having a game where people won't tackle, and it just makes a mockery of it. It really does.
Well, yeah, but you didn't have to worry about it this year. And I would imagine Joe Burrow will probably be voted in next year. Whether he gets to play on it, we'll have to see.
But he wasn't voted. That's the point, though. He wasn't voted in this year. They voted in Lamar Jackson, who was injured for half the season. No, didn't. No, I haven't got anything against that running back, but he was voted in against Joe Burrow. And Joe Burrow is has shown, and that's another thing. I'm going to stay on my soapbox now. The MVP award. The MVP award is voted for before just around the end of the regular season. So Aaron Rodgers, God bless him, he's had a nice season. He's done exactly what he does every year, not much more than that, and he's the MVP. Really?
Who would you give it to?
First playoff game at home, and he loses to the 49ers. You ask him whether or not he thought that's been a great season for him. I bet it wasn't. It's absolutely discredited the fact that players are their reputation is based on what they do in the postseason, and yet for the MVP, the so-called biggest award out there, they don't even take into account the postseason. It's ridiculous. There's some silly stat that the MVP has not won the Super Bowl in about 20 years because it's done on the regular season. They ignore the postseason. Well, you tell me why.
Because Tom Brady hasn't won that many MVPs.
Yeah, no, Tom Brady hasn't. I think he's had 2 MVPs.
Yeah.
It's frankly ridiculous. And don't even get me started on the coach year.
Well,
Mike Vrabel?
I would just add, for anyone that's worrying, when you call the Ravens quarterback a running back, there may be a smidgen of rivalry in some of those comments.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say that? That was a slip of my tongue. I do apologise.
I picked it up just in case nobody else did. But let's talk about the good stuff. Let's just say, like the last 2 weeks, the Bengals. I feel like the Bengals are a team that have enjoyed the 2 weeks and the process. And you could argue that the Rams are the team that have almost been talking about the pressure of the game. And even really, I don't even know why they've been kind of set as favourites, but the Rams are kind of going into this as favourites. The Bengals seem to be happy with that and just been talking it up. Yeah. Do you, heart on heart, or say head rather than your heart, do you feel like the Rams are kind of rightfully favourites, or are the Bengals kind of playing a bit of a game?
No, Bengals aren't playing any game. It's just the Bengals, the NFL and the bookmakers never back the Bengals. They never do. It's just the little old Bengals, right? Well, they're ignoring what we've done. We have been exceptional when we have been 3 or 4 point underdogs all season. We really have. And so I'm quite happy if they want to make us the underdogs. We're used to that. One thing you really should not give the Bengals and Joe Burrow is any ammunition at all. We saw before week 16 against Baltimore, Wink Martindale, the defensive coordinator, make those comments about, well, we're not ready to give him a gold jacket yet, and no, we're not going to single coverage, right? And then he went off and had just an absolutely phenomenal game. And in interview afterwards, they said, were you aware of it? He said, yeah, didn't think it was necessary. And he said, did it have any impact? And he just smiled at the camera and went, maybe, right? Don't give the Bengals any material. Don't give them something to put up in the locker room and say, people are ignoring you, because it really is fuel to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's an interesting process for Burrow, because when you look at, so the Rams are, I think, the kind of general 3-point favourites. It's an interesting place to
4.5. I think it's 4.5.
4.5 now.
Yeah.
It's an interesting place to put the Rams, because generally the line is often dictated by the quarterback. And I mean, not without saying, not to knock Stafford, but I don't think it's close on big game, on experience and big game ability. One person has spent the last 3 years expecting to win, and one person has kind of only really had this year as that genuine expectation of victory. Burrow's been in bigger games. It's a fact. There's not really a way to work around it. So having that on fact. Yeah, no.
Can I give you facts on that? Yeah. Let me give you facts on that. In 2019 at LSU, Burrow had to beat Alabama, had to beat Georgia in the SEC title game.
Yeah.
Then got to the semi-final of the championship, beat Oklahoma, beat Clemson in the final. This year, Baltimore Ravens week 16, Kansas City week 17, Raiders wildcard round, Titans away, divisional round. The Chiefs away in the championship round. 9 career must-wins Burrow has had, and he's 9-0. In that time, he's thrown for 3,511 yards. That's 390 yards a game. He's thrown 31 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Oh, I'm very happy with Burrow in a must-win game. He raises his game when the lights are brightest. He raises his game.
Yeah, absolutely, and the numbers are fantastic. And I think I think he's thrown 2 picks in those 9 games. He's an outstanding.
And one wasn't a pick.
Yeah, he's an outstanding.
The Titans wasn't a pick. How they didn't overrule that? The
ball
hit the ground as he could.
That was a lot of groundwork, shall we say? But he's definitely a big game hunter. And actually, just to kind of underpin those points, the Titans did have the running back whose name now eludes me.
Derrick
Henry back. Kansas City, which everyone says is an absolute nightmare place to play.
Yeah.
The pressure, obviously, of the first playoff game in 30 years, and the Raiders driving right near the end. So it wasn't all Burrow. The defense stood up when they needed.
No.
And arguably, and I know there was injuries, and that AFC North is a humdinger of a division. It is genuinely hard work to get through. If nothing else, it gets damn cold towards the end of the season. It's just hard to get through. So to play 6 games throughout the season, but to play 6 games in those last couple. Whereas I think the Rams come in and then all, in some respects, all of the right type of plaudits, right? The perceived lack of, or the sacks we all talk about, we talked about last time, and then you add Aaron, and then you go up against Aaron Donald, Von Miller, Floyd, with then also Ramsey in the backfield. I think that's 4 outstanding players, but I think we forget about the other 7 players on the field. And can you get to them? Are we looking at roughly not quite a draw, but they've got some real outstanding players. Are we looking for T. Higgins and Mixon to really step up? Is this really where it's going to be won and losses?
Yeah.
It's the other players that need to take that pressure off.
We've got a fantastic contrast between 2 teams who have a lot of similarities in the way they are run, and obviously McVay and Zach Taylor know each other very, very well, but their approach to the creation of their roster is massively different. And and there are more teams starting to go the way of the Rams than the traditional way, which is the Bengals. The Bengals have done it through the draft, and they've hit on drafts, and we've got good young players, etc. The Rams have traded every high pick they've got until the year 2075 to bring in established professionals. And I get the logic in that. Because they are established. Don't gamble on college players that might not turn out well. But the problem with that, to me, is you're bringing in players who are extremely expensive. So there's a limit to how many of them you can have. In which case, you have to hit on the lower draft picks. In which case, aside from these great players, you've got players who are perhaps not quite so great. Whereas, if you manage your roster properly, the way that the Bengals have, I think, have done it, there is you may not have the absolute superstars, but the overall level is much, much greater. So your point about where we won and lost, we've heard all week about will Jalen Ramsey follow Chase? Will he go one-on-one? I hope they do. I hope the Rams do, because it would be their biggest mistake, right? Because let's just say Ramsey goes on Chase. Let's just say that Ramsey is able to shut Chase down, and that could happen, right? That could happen. Chase hasn't been spectacular in every single game, right? He had a lull in the mid-season because teams started to double him. Then what's going to happen? Are we going to have 5'9" Darius Williams with a PFF grade of 65.3? Or 5'9" Dante Dayan with a 67.4 rating, covering 6'4" T. Higgins with an 84.5 rating? Or they've got a taller cornerback, David Long. He's all of 5'11". We're going to stick him on T. Higgins. His grade's worse. He's 58.8. So Jalen Ramsey is fantastic. Absolutely, he is. He can't cover the whole lot. It would be a mistake. In my opinion, what they need to do is to put Jalen Ramsey on T. Higgins, one-on-one. They're both tall, they're both physical. That's fine. And then you double or triple chase and hope. Of course, that means that Boyd is going to feast in the slot. CJ Uzama coming back from injury, he will feast.
Is he due back?
Yeah, he'll be back. Oh, don't you worry about that. He'll be back. Let's put it this way. He's already confirmed that if the Bengals, I should say when, but he said if the Bengals win the Super Bowl, he is going to bath in a bowl of Skyline chili, which is Cincinnati chili. So, CJ will be there. No two ways about that. And I think it is the lesser reputation players who are more likely to feast in this matter. It would not surprise me at all if Chase gets one or two catches for 20-odd yards, and that's about it. And everyone says, oh, a poor game. No, because if he takes Jalen Ramsey out of the game, the others will feast. Now, obviously, the other thing that we're talking about is Aaron Donald and how fantastic Aaron Donald is. And yes, he is. And how the Bengals O-line can't block. Because everyone remembers the Titans game. Joe Burrow is the most sacked quarterback in the NFL. Joe Burrow is also in the Super Bowl. He's in the Super Bowl despite being the most sacked. We had a poor game against the Titans. Their defense baffled, and Joe Burrow struggled, as did the D-line. The O-line. What did we do against the Chiefs? We sacked Mahomes more than they sacked. I think Burrow was sacked only the once. So we can step up, but everyone's saying that Aaron Donald is going to he's going to be the pivotal part of the game. You know, he's this fantastic. He is fantastic. In 20 games this season, Aaron Donald has 14.5 sacks, which is fantastic. But let's completely ignore that in only 17 games, Trey Hendrickson's got 16.5 sacks. Tell me who's got the most impressive stats there. So we will get pressure on Stafford. And what we know about Stafford, I'll take a breath in a second, but what we know about Stafford is he makes mistakes. He makes mistakes. He is ranked in the bottom 10 of turnover-worthy plays. He's tied for the NFL lead in interceptions. And that is where the game will be won. We have won the turnover battle. Thank you. Yeah. In every game this season. Bengals are 12-1 this season when they are at least even in a turnover battle. And yet in the playoffs, we've won every single time. In our last 3 playoff games, our final defensive play has been an interception. This defense finds a way. The last 15 Super Bowls, teams who've won the turnover battle are 9-2. So I think that's what's going to happen. I think we'll get some pressure on Stafford. I think their running game isn't going to help out enough, but he's going to chuck it all over the park. Our opportunistic defense will get opportunities. If we win that that turnover battle, we win the Super Bowl. Donald or Ramsey apart, doesn't matter. If we get the turnover battle, we will win.
How will you see? We talk a lot about Burrow, but how will you see his legacy go down? It was a fantastic stat that came from ESPN. I would say it came from ESPN. That the only comparable start of a career, end of a college career, and start of a professional career was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who won the national title at LSU, and then in his second season won the NBA championship with Milwaukee. There is no comparable quarterback that would lead a team in NFL history. He doesn't probably quite cement his legacy for a gold jacket. He's quite close, right?
No, not after one season. Not after one season. Look, give him a decade of getting new records, busting myths. Look, we had the Hall of Fame selection last night. The greatest right tackle in the history of the game, who has barely given up a sack all career. Willie Anderson still misses out. Why? He's a Bengals fan. They didn't win anything. And that's the problem. They didn't win. It's little Bengals. They didn't win anything. The cornerback with the most interceptions. I don't mean defensive back, because there are plenty of safeties in the Hall of Fame with more interceptions. But true cornerback, Ken Riley, the late Ken Riley, he's still not in. Why? They're the Bengals. Bengals have got one player in there. Right? So it's going to take a lot more. I mean, it's going to take Super Bowl wins. It's going to take rings for Burrow. He will have the records. If he wins on Sunday night, Monday morning, he will be the only first overall pick quarterback to win the Heisman, the National Championship, and the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And that's in 2 years as well. That's in 2 years. So we're loving it. We are really looking forward to Sunday night, Monday morning. And obviously, we want to win because you never know if you're ever going to get back there. Dan Marino went there to Super Bowl in his second season, never went back. And people say he was one of the most talented quarterbacks to ever throw a ball, but he's not considered one of the best because he had one Super Bowl appearance. So you never know. You've got to take advantage, and we want to take advantage. But still, in the back of all our minds is we look at this young team we've got. Right? We've got Mixon, Boyd's 27, but so Mixon, Boyd, Higgins, Chase, Burrow, 25 or under, all contracted for this season and at least 2 more. That's exciting.
That's the
future.
Yeah, and I know we don't have much longer, but the one storyline, if you like, that just hasn't. Well, I mean, I'm sure in Cincinnati it's been spoken about. It just hasn't. It's Mixon. He. I mean, he's about the most underappreciated player. I mean, again, running backs don't get a lot of love, I guess. But it was his run in overtime, if I remember rightly, that really punched in the opportunity for the field goal. It would that was the. To me, that was almost like the end of that run ended the Chiefs, and then after that they seemed flat. That's an interesting storyline.
We couldn't run it against the Titans, and yet the one touchdown we got was Mixon, and he's not had a fantastic playoffs because he's not had that opportunity. But when his number is called, he steps up. So you're right. We're in overtime. We're driving down. T. Higgins catches to put us on the outskirts of the long field goal range of McPherson, and then we just give it to Mixon, and he runs and runs and runs the ball. So he gets it much further down to make a much more comfortable kick. Now, look, I can't deny, and I know speaking to lots of my colleagues with the same, we had 2015 flashbacks, playoffs, Dalton injured. We're playing against the Steelers. We're ahead. We're controlling the ball. Last few minutes, Jeremy Hill fumbles it. Steelers come back and win. And it's a game we don't talk about. I just have, but it's a game we don't talk about. But I was having, and I know a lot of my colleagues were having the same flashback memories. But Mixon was secure, and he just ran it and ran it and ran it. And it just then made for a much easier kick for Mr. Golden Balls, McPherson.
The leg on that kid. Was he a 5th round pick?
12 for 12 in the playoffs. 12 for 12 in the playoffs. And he's more comfortable from 50 plus yards.
Yeah, it's incredible. And the funny thing is, he's going to be. I mean, that stadium is, I think, a much easier stadium to kick in. The way they kind of set it up, the weather. I think it's one of the warmest Super Bowls in a little while. So we should be looking for him from 60 probably to win the game.
Well, he's used to the heat as well because he came out of Florida.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't let you go without kind of the end question. Give me a score prediction. I'm not even going to ask you who's going to win because I already know. What's your score prediction?
Okay, I've got 27-24 McPherson 3-pointer.
You heard it here first. Bet the over.
Yeah.
As always, it's an absolute pleasure. Good luck on the Super Bowl.
Thank you.
I know you'll enjoy it, win or lose.
Well, can I tell you what we're doing?
Go, yeah, please.
Go big or go home. This is the biggest event that we've had. So, Bengals UK, big fan group. We've gone for it. And so we booked out a pub in central London. We put tickets on sale, sold out in 2 hours. We went back to the pub and said, we need more space. And they said, do you want the 3rd floor as well? We said, yeah, fine. More tickets, sold out in 4 hours. So we've got an absolute packed 3-floor pub full of Bengals fans enjoying this moment for the first time in 33 years. So as much the Super Bowl itself, but just being around like-minded Bengals fans, having a great time, it's going to be wonderful.
That sounds amazing. Absolutely amazing. I will not try and tweet any of you. That Wi-Fi is going to be shocking. Thank you so much for your time. Obviously, I wish you all the luck. As I said earlier, my predictions come at the end, so no one knows my predictions until you watch this video. But thank you so much. Good luck, and then maybe I'll hopefully see you on the other side.
Who dey?
Thank you. See you later.